Hey, where's Danny McBride? Oh, hey, Benny.
Hello,
Look at
hello.
Hey, what's up, Benny?
How's everybody doing?
100%.
Not bad, considering we're in a trying market, huh?
Yeah, it looks like Bitcoin's going up now, though, Benny.
Yeah, like I said a while back, I was probably a lot more concerned about 6 or 7 weeks ago, and then I'm actually surprisingly extremely calm at this particular point in time. I think that it depends who you look at, what you listen to. Actually, who do people go to? See, if you followed me for some time, you'd know I'm not a massive fan of a lot of the TA doesn't work in these markets, especially on the smaller coins with the easy to manipulate. But what's your go-to people that you go to for TA charts?
Crypto Stash.
Crypto Stash, you go to him for your charts? He a good
Yeah.
charter?
On Tuesday, he does a stream, and he does a lot of TA on NFT coins and gaming coins, and then Bitcoin and some of the major ones. And if anyone has any questions, it's part of his entire show. It's not all he does is TA, but it's pretty informative.
It's good to see he's done so well, because I remember back in the early days he had a really tiny following, and now he's blowing up. He's got a huge following.
Yes, yeah, he has quite a few coming in on Theta and YouTube, and who knows, maybe be able to get him on RFOX TV.
Absolutely. You watch CoinSkid. I like CoinSkid as well. Big up to the CoinSkid crew. All right, I'm just going to dive straight into Bitcoin. Yeah, he's actually pretty good. He's getting trolled a lot at the moment. He's getting trolled a lot because he keeps saying we're in the corrective phase of a bull run. Anybody talking about a bear market says hopium, bear market hopium. I'm probably not doing the accent much justice, am I? So that's what he does. I've never heard a dude do such fast intro. Big up to the CoinSkid crew. All right. Just buy whole coins to the fundamental. I'm trying, Pineapple Phantom. I'm trying. He does do good TA. He does do good TA. Yeah, it's been a rough couple of weeks for sure and certain. I think the people that have is this anybody's first sort of so how many people are on the call that have actually this is the first time they've actually seen the correction? I was asked recently in an interview, can I remember back to my first time? And I can. I remember thinking that the world was going to end. I remember thinking, shit, shouldn't have told people about crypto. I shouldn't have told people. And then, uh, and then about 8 weeks later, I should tell everybody about crypto. It changes very quickly, doesn't it? There we go. COVID crash was my first big one in crypto. Really? Is that true, Hanford? You weren't around for the. When was the last really big one? I guess probably the early part of 2018 was probably the really big one, right? China
Yeah,
fight
I
in
missed
September.
that one by a year. COVID crash was the first big one, and talked Ruby into buying Ethereum at $184 a piece and some Bitcoin at 3,000. So, yeah.
I actually
Still up on
found
those for-
yeah, I actually found a transaction not that long ago when I was going through some old screenshots and stuff of one of the first Ethereum based NFT. The first Ethereum based ICOs that I went in. Because if you remember back, they're not that old really. They were only 4 years old, roughly, the ICOs, but based on Ethereum. And I looked at it and I'd put in 90 odd Ethereum, and it was $90 a pop back in those days when the ICO started up. If you put 90 Ethereum into something now, that's it's a pretty hefty investment. The China FUD in September 2017 restart, that's the one I talk about all the time. That's when I was saying everybody buy as many of the Chinese coins as you can. And that's when I think good old Binance was only pretty new, and it had to delist. What was it called? It had to delist Tron for a bit. Bytom, Neo. It delisted like pretty much all of them. Yo-Yo, all of them.
That was all,
Does the Russia?
it was all about Neo back then. That was, I remember that.
Yeah, I was saying that's my favourite story. I got banned from all the channels for shilling it too much when it was 18 cents, but it looked like a really, really good token. And when they all got kicked off of Binance, I think Binance was 43 cents or something at the time. BCH fork when it almost caused a flippening, that was hectic for me as a noob. Yeah, Jesus, that's a flash blast from the past. The Great Reset that globalists are pushing for 2030 cannot have crypto be a thing in order to pull it off. Any ideas on the concept of the Great Reset and its attack on crypto? Hang on, we'll do your other one first. 2018 was the roughest one so far, yeah, for sure. Does the Russia and China banning Bitcoin have anything to help with the current bear market? Okay, there's some good questions coming in. Yeah, so the Russia and China, I mean, Jesus, I reckon China's almost like Bitcoin. You know, there's a site that says how many times Bitcoin's died, right? Bitcoin's died thousands of times. I think that the same things happen with China. I reckon the same article about China and their stance on crypto has circulated hundreds of times in just different translations and different mediums and forms. I think every year it rears its head, and every year they go nuts. And if you notice, the China stuff comes out a lot around the Chinese New Year, and they have a thing, I think they call it Ghost Week or something. You find that not a lot of trading, or I forget what, someone who knows the region well would know. I think they do a lot of they sell off, or then they buy back after it. It's the same every year. They tell me every year, and I forget every year what the actual story is, but it's something like that. Also, the Great Reset. Yeah, so that one, I don't know, mate. I think that such a long way away, and the markets have changed so much, and I think that a lot of the people that have said that the markets have decoupled and that the blockchain or crypto markets have got nothing to do with traditional markets and they've broken completely away. I think that's just been proven to be absolute twaddle, hasn't it? I wonder what a year-long bear market would mean for development of blockchain products and also for RFOX ecosystem. Would that delay launches of products? So George74, no. We have been, well, technically speaking, we've gotten into a better and better position the longer we've gone on as a project. So I think if we were to go into a full-fledged bear market now, even with the size of the team we've got, the products that we're building and all the rest of it, and let's pretend that none of those products come out, and that not only none of the products come out, but none of the products are actually producing revenue, we'd still be able to plug along for a couple of years without any problem at all. So it's not going to slow development, it's not going to delay products, and it's not going to change the way we attack things. But we've said very clearly this year, it's all about moving towards getting those products out, getting users, and actually heading towards a big focus on revenue. And when we say revenue, what we mean is obviously revenue from the products that we're putting out is extremely important. So it's a massive massive focus for us. Is that dependent on RFOX token price for your runway, Benny? So we've already got the runway restart. That's assuming that, let's just say that we don't have any more tokens or anything like that. That's without that. So that's the position we've got ourselves into. So we're not impacted by that. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that we provide a ton of value back to our holders and investors, and we want to make sure that we're continually looking at innovative ways to make sure that we can do that. And obviously by getting products out, so the whole thing's been all about that for years, right? And now these pieces are coming out bit by bit, perilously close. I won't ruin marketing's thunder. Are you here? Have we got any marketing people here? I know that Pete's not here tonight because he's got a...
I'm here. What about my thunder? Are you about to break, Benny?
Oh, it's just going to. It was just going to be all about gossip and innuendo and marketing slander, but no, I'm just kidding. No, I wasn't going to spoil anything at all, mate. I was just going to say that I think it's fair to say, isn't it, that there is a fair bit of stuff on the horizon as far as yes. I don't
Oh
want to
yes.
yeah. So
I was, I want to take this opportunity to jump in and say, hey, listen, we were just having this conversation on our morning call that the next couple of weeks we do have a fair bit of announcements and some stuff that's coming in back to back, and one of them is actually underway right now. We are starting a scavenger hunt tomorrow that culminates into token burn next Monday.
Benny, 2 shops have been sold on the secondary market. We didn't have that plan, Z-Train, but the thing is that we don't own the shops and we don't own the sale. I'm not even sure if there's actually I'm not even sure if there's a fee on it on our side. I'll have to check.
Benny, can I answer this question? Yes, there will be rewards for VFOX holders. I've checked this actually just yesterday with Glenn.
Well, there you go. In today's AMA, you mentioned new team that should bring VALT into another level, if I got that right. This team part of the RFOX company or some outside partner. So George 74, we were using a lot of external people on a longer term contract, and being very honest, and I've said this before, you've seen what we showed as far as walkthroughs, and the issue with VR is that a video of a walkthrough doesn't give any justice compared to a VR headset, as you'd be well aware. And we know that from the internal people walking through for the first time saying, holy crap, how do we get that across to the people outside what it's like? So the thing is that we thought it was pretty good. We thought it was awesome. And what's happened is that we've started to bring on a massive internal team. And the reason is, and I still work with outside parties because there's certain specific skill sets, like say, for example, you need a particular type of architecture or design done or something like that, then you're going to use people that might have a particular type of skill set externally. You don't have someone just sitting around it to do 1 or 2 buildings or pieces a year. So we will always pull on outside resources for specific things. But the internal team that came along, and I've said this openly, and I think it's actually quite important, the internal team came along and said, what you've got, it could be a lot better than this, a lot better. And so they've gone in and actually already started making those updates, and we'll start sort of slowly giving you some exposure to them as far as team people are concerned, which we've said we would. But we're moving fast to make sure, as I stated last week, that we've got much more frequent development updates. And ideally, it would be great if we could somehow magically beam what you see through 3D through a VR headset onto video. But it's a really, really hard transition to show what it looks like walking around versus an actual video. It's like a completely different feel. Anyone who's worn an Oculus or done VR before would understand how amazing it is compared to a normal video. So the answer, George 74, is the team internally is being recruited, added on. We've got we'll give you some news on the direction of the VALT very shortly as well. People have asked me here just on that. We'll answer it while we're waiting for the questions to come in. What is the outside interest for the VALT? Is it increasing? The outside interest for the VALT 100% is increasing. It's increased since the last sale. It's like, I've said this, I think I said it last week, it's like people are getting more and more exposure to what it is. And as we stated, we did an interview on CNBC. And the thing is that people in the retail space and normal commercial industries are starting to understand what the metaverse could possibly do for them. And the more and more businesses that we're talking to, they're saying that they need a Web 3.0 or a metaverse strategy. So I remember 5, 6, 7 years ago, people were saying if a business didn't have a customer experience strategy, it was dead in the water, and that was their big focus for the year. Everybody this year that we're talking to says we're building our Web 3.0 or metaverse strategy. So they're still needing a lot of hand-holding on what that strategy should be, but some of them have done a lot of shopping around and they're pretty clued up. But the reason that we're getting a few more people come our way now is because, and this is what I was talking to the guys about the other day, we've got to find out how, but we're coming up on the radar of people for retail and e-commerce as far as VR and metaverses are concerned. So more and more brands, the issue that we're running into, being very transparent and honest, is a lot of people want exclusivity. So if you, let's just say it was I don't know what you call it, for example, giving you a hypothetical example.
Sorry, Benny, your mic's playing up a little bit in terms of it being too either close to you or too far away.
I'll put it on a table. Is that better?
Yep.
Okay. So I was giving the example of football or soccer. If one team comes along to you, for example, and says we want to do a contract or a deal with you, they want to do it exclusively. So we're trying to work out the best way to navigate that, because obviously people want to get in and sort of get a corner of the earth squared away for them. So we're trying to work out the best ways to sort of accommodate multiple people from the same fields or genres. So yeah, that's probably the biggest challenge that we have. But that's good. It's a good problem to have. If you've got contracts in front of you, multiple from the same genre or field, and you have to say which one do we choose, that's a good situation. It'd be better if we didn't have to choose any and we could just choose all. But I think that people understand that there's a lot at stake to get your Web 3.0 and metaverse strategy right. Fadz, when will second edition KOGs templates be uploaded to AtomicHub?
Special edition KOG templates. Phil, you want to answer that?
Yeah, sure. They'll definitely be up by next week, for sure.
Thank you. So without keep pushing the mute button, can you tell us a little bit more on new partnerships? Yes. I've got to be careful about how I say it as well, because there's lots still coming in as well. But I've said this before and I'll say it again. The partnerships that, well, not partnerships, but the businesses that are launching in the Vault, that are launching from the metaverse, are moving faster, having a much greater understanding of the metaverse space and blockchain space, are prepared to do more as far as value. So even without giving away anything from spoiling Fadz's thunder either from the gaming side, what we're doing from both sides is we're saying, if you're going to come in and build, what value can you provide to RFOX holders? What can you do for us? So the brands that want to build and are being spawned out of this whole metaverse and blockchain space, they are much more receptive to giving back, doing collabs, offering something to holders and users of RFOX, whereas the traditional brands, there's still a little bit of an arm wrestle on, you should pay us because we're a big name. Most of them are now sort of saying, you don't have to do that. Let's work out a deal. But the deals are much more skewed to their side. So I think that the blockchain brands will move much quicker, much more aggressively, and I think you're going to see some massive brands being brought out of the metaverse. I don't think I can say this any more times than I already have, but I think everybody's going to be singing that chorus very soon. XP, Whitelabel still on track for January. Piyush, you might have to mute me. Are you happy for me to answer that?
Actually, yes.
Okay. So the answer XP is yes, and it is going to be ready. What we're going to do is we are going to communicate, and I'll let marketing do that communication through the official channels rather than tonight. We're going to really start to search for some really good projects that we can launch in addition to the ones we've got lined up, like your Chasing Spaces and the ones we haven't announced. So there'll be a couple of week period where we're kind of sifting through who wants to launch with us, and what we want to do is do a bit of hand holding, because we want to make sure that it's a good experience, and it's an experience that doesn't have to require the entire team that we have all moving their focus towards the support side. So what we'll do is we'll roll out a couple of projects. We'll carefully filter those. We'll offer some assistance to those projects, help them funding and labour, and walk through, get a very close understanding of what they go through, what they find, what they like, and then we'll be able to sort of put the foot down and then sort of let the floodgates open up a little bit more. So, yes, I hope that makes sense. So yes, it'll be ready, but we're going to throttle the number of people that come through in the beginning, and then do something pretty novel to try and make sure that we've got some looking at sentiment to see what type of things people are going to like. Benny slaying poachers in the Congo. What are you? Oh, that one. TCRY. So hold that thought in relation to utility and stuff for the metaverse. As I said, there's a few things happening on the Vault side, and one of the things that we want to do is offer a lot more of the come along on the ride with us and get community in. We're starting to really get very close to starting to let some people in and have a look around. And what that will also do is lead to integration of the utility quickly. We're working very fast on that. We've got people on the ground and on the inside that are working out all the possible angles for how we do that now. But like I've said many times before, we've got our people putting on headsets and walking through the vault, and I think it's probably a 50-50 if I'm not mistaken, guys, but it's probably 50% of people are going, Jesus, just get this out into people's hands, and the other 50% are saying, hang on, just polish that bit up, do that little bit. So we're close. It's just a matter of bit by bit making sure that we can handle the flow of people when they come in. What size are the KOGs for the special edition? Tiny or Hanford size?
I guess I can answer that one. Yeah, so we are going back to the big borders. No padding. It'll make it easier for game development, as well as, you know, you guys prefer it. So yeah, we're bringing back the big borders.
Oh shit! Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you know it.
Hey Phil, I reckon it was about a day. The guys will tell me if I'm wrong. I reckon it was about a day after the smaller KOGs came out, before there was a meme. I don't know why I'm always the brunt of the jokes, but there was a meme and it said, "Honey, I shrunk the KOGs." I nearly spat my coffee across the room. I thought, these people are bloody quick on the memes. It doesn't take. It's actually they're very well done. We've got a very good meme culture or section. When can I wear my Reebok in the Vault? So Hanford, that's not really up to us. That's more of a them question. But we have some. Actually, I'd probably like to. I won't do it. Well, let's move towards. I'll talk to Piyush, because, you know, we've got a proper marketing team and strategy and all the rest of it now. But I do want to go back to, and I have said this, so part of the changes will be there'll be more regular Discord calls. You remember back in the old days, there used to be a KOGs call every night, and I know you guys do DJing calls. So what I want to do is increase the comms on what's happening inside the Vault and how we're doing that. So I really miss those calls as well. So I'm really happy to jump on and do more regular calls and talk to you guys about what's going on. And as we did with KOGs, do a little bit of spoiler culture where we can show you some of the stuff. So again, I'm not going to do it, Piyush, don't worry. I'm just going to talk about it. I want to be able to sneak some stuff to you guys to show you a little bit of a peek on what might be coming in relation to transportation and stuff inside of the vault. That's all I'll say. You really like the new special edition tax write-off. Any
No,
relation?
it's not a tax write-off, guys. It's a fundraiser for the International Anti-Poaching Foundation. So the thing is, when they reached out to us and they wanted to do the project together, we were more than happy to help them do this. So nothing to do with our taxes or anything like that.
Any contact with the football clubs? It's interesting you asked that, Han, because I just used football as an example. But the reason I used football as an example is because we haven't really spoken to any. No, we had an opportunity about a year ago or thereabouts to work with one of the biggest European leagues, as in the entire league, but the conditions and terms were not 100% clear. And sometimes when people sort of take a long time or months to sort of navigate their way around how that happens, and it's obvious that that those big clubs and the big associations have so many partners and affiliates and all the rest of it that they have to talk to. It just sort of dragged on for such a long period of time that we sort of parked it and went on with what else was going. And I know that they're still not ready to go yet, but there's a couple that we've sort of got good contacts with that we could ramp up again. But again, it just depends on what the deals look like. Back in those days, you'd have to pay those clubs or the associations, the leagues, a couple of $1 million a year to be their official partner. But now that's all changed now. There's very few deals out there where you're having to pay the big brands money now. It's more sort of what can you give them for free or exposure, or what work can you do for them. An AMA, when you were off, Benny, spoke about outside investors. Does this work out as hoped? We've talked to so many over the years, it's been ridiculous. And we've had quite a few recently that sort of didn't fit what we were wanting to do, or conditions and terms weren't really what we were looking for. I think the thing is that we're in a different situation than we were a couple of years ago. So we're more looking for, and we say this to everybody we talk to, we're more looking for people who can open doors and build relationships. And obviously one of those is if you could get fast tracked into a tier 1 exchange. We're less about dumping a bag of cash at the door and running away, because that just doesn't really help us, because we would have never been allowed to build as an expansive metaverse project if we'd had heavy investment in the beginning. That would have throttled us into doing one thing. So we're very careful not to lose our creative control. And to do that, we've had to put ourselves in a position where we're strong enough to not need that money. So what we do is we sort of just say, if we can get money that makes sense, we take it, providing it opened doors for us or got us what we needed or where we needed to go to. As far as outside investors are concerned as well, we've had a couple, as I've stated, that are looking to win a space race for who can launch the first metaverse token, the metaverse project on a public stock exchange. We had a number of calls with interested parties in relation to that, and decided that it was just at this particular point in time, it doesn't fit what we're trying to do, because most of those types of listing deals require you to, without giving away too much detail, requires maybe another company merging or two parties coming together, and it just doesn't make sense. It's like, I don't know, it's like making a sandwich with eggs and jam. The two things don't really go together. So I think the short answer is we're always open to people wanting to have a chat, but we're just not in that desperate hunger for, can you please give us $50 million, because we're so perilously close to building, to having what we need, that if we did get a massive injection of cash, being very honest, what we'd do is we'd spend it on polishing up a few extra resources internally. But but we'd spend it on marketing and acquisition of other companies. So I don't know if this is boring to you, so just please write down if like when we're talking about strategy stuff, if you find this boring, say not interested in that, let's talk degen stuff or whatever you want to hear. But from a strategy perspective, internally we say we built a lot of stuff, right? We're building a lot of stuff. We've got the wax bridge and all the rest of it. And it's been brought to our attention that the way we talk about stuff is we might say something like, I'll put it this way. We might say, hey, you can now bring your RFOX across from ETH to wax, and that's a cool service, right? Versus we've got a bridge that's much easier to use than the wax bridge, and it's much easier. You don't have to go through all that same whitelisting stuff. You could be using this bridge, and everybody that's been trying to get across could come across. So talking about what we are doing rather than what we have. So so that's the difference. And the other thing is, if we were to be building something from scratch that was kind of took a long time, we're at that point now in the space race where you just have to say, if we haven't begun building it, don't build it. Just use something that's out there or buy a company that's doing it. And then what you do is, once you get to a certain cost level or it becomes a line item, just remove it by building your own. But ultimately, we've got a lot of stuff that's very close to being finished. And this is going to be a huge advantage, because you think about it. You combine the capability of RFOX ID, right? It needs a lot of work and it's in its infant stages, but we know where things go, right? So if I'm in the Philippines or I'm in India and I've never used crypto before in my life, and I can get a single login and I can get a wallet on multiple chains, and I can put all my NFTs and all of my tokens in one place, and I've never had crypto, I've never bought any crypto, I play a BSC game, I get some BNB, and I can use the swapping tools that we've got on our finance to, inside of the wallet, swap the BNB for ETH, for example. And as I say, see all my tokens, all my NFTs, and all of these companies like Animoca and stuff who have bought games on multiple chains. Suddenly I'm in one wallet and I'm connected and I can play multiple games across multiple chains, and I don't have to worry about the rigmarole of where am I, where's my stuff, what am I doing? And these are the types of things that I think people don't understand the magnitude of yet. And once they sort of all come together, it's a really, really easy experience. What a lot of people will say is, why do that? It's about maximalism and you should just choose a chain like Ethereum and stick to it. And it's all about privacy, and it's all about secret sending and all the rest of it. Cool. And of course you have to offer all of those types of options. But the fact is, let's be honest, the vast majority of people coming into this space find it way too freaking difficult to understand. And if you were using Amazon's philosophy or whatever it would be, how do we get to one click? How do we make it easy for these people to get in, use the products and services, become customers, join the ecosystem? What's the fastest and easiest route? And I think a lot of people don't realize that the pieces, if you take the little pieces that we've got, if you put them all together, it's worth the pain and it's worth the amount of time and effort that we've put into it, because if you connect everything together, it becomes quite clear that this is a proposition that is extremely valuable. And again, I'll take another product without giving too much away, but if you think of KOGs Mint Lab and you say, right, we've got a product that can allow somebody to mint a Bored Ape, have the derivative, sell it for a passive income, get whitelisted into future NFT releases, and enter straight into a game. Cool. But what we've also done is we're saying you now have the right to do derivatives. So for example, I don't want to put a Bored Ape in a staking pool with some degen anonymous founder of some company. I'm scared. I don't want to lose my Bored Ape, but I can actually mint a derivative through something like Mint Lab. Let's just follow the same model. I have 5 Bored Ape derivative pieces, NFTs per month. I put them in a staking pool. The next month, I mint 5 more. Now I've got 10 in a staking pool. Next month I do it again, and every month I'm doing that. I'm compounding it. I'm getting more and more from whatever that staking pool is. And then if I sell my Bored Ape on the secondary market, that person that buys it has a passive income already taken care of. And that's one of 30, 40, 50 different things that you can do with the same tool. So if you combine it all together, it is really, really powerful. So once these products start coming out, you'll start working out very quickly that they're much more multifaceted than might first meet the eye. Hardware question. Will I need a supercomputer to get 100% out of the Vault experience? I know we touched on this in the past. Just wondering, will a standard gaming PC cut it? So Baltic Badger, there's two real audiences, right? There's the I'll call it the mobile or app-based audience, which is going to be the majority of the people for the interim, and then it's going to be the world's going to go VR very quickly. But so the answer is no, you don't need a supercomputer, and we're trying to make it for low to mid-spec devices as well. But what's also really important to understand, and again, I'm being transparent on this, we've also begun discussions with hardware providers because we also want to have a look at how to control the experience from our side. We don't want to rely on Oculus. We don't want to rely on non-tailored experiences or people not focusing on getting the most out of what the Vault could potentially produce. At this particular point in time, if we go through hardware manufacturers and get tailored stuff, it's not really any cheaper than an Oculus. But I'm giving away too much here, but because we do get a lot of ideas stolen. But the thing is that if you bought a branded, and I'm just hypothetically speaking, if you bought a branded RFOX headset, right, that headset can act as auto staking, access, whitelists to NFT drops. So we can actually not necessarily have to do what Facebook do and subsidize and sell headsets at a loss. We could actually sell headsets with features that are tuned into the Vault that we don't sell at a loss and subsidize them with value and utility. So it is something that we're looking at. We've just started having our first meetings with headset providers, but we are 100%, and it is our nature, and we're aggressive with this stuff. We don't want to be using, or we don't want to have the experience in our in the metaverse dictated by people that don't have aligned interests or don't want to get the most out of the experience that we want to offer. Yes, so RFOX VR headsets. So technically, Pineapple Phantom, we can do that. We could do that tomorrow. I mean, it takes actually, I think you said 6 weeks for those to be tailor-made, delivered, and we can have them with a RFOX symbol at the front and a red border around the outside. But the fact is that unless it's better than what's currently available, and unless it does what we need it to do, but to give you an example, with those types of headsets, you can actually whitelist the applications. So we can make it all based on metaverse, blockchain, crypto, RFOX, whatever we like. Yeah, so exactly, Baltic Badger. So that's just my idea anyways. I don't know if it's the right idea, but my thought process is I don't understand why we're lucky, because Zuckerberg and that has to sell these headsets at a massive loss. And if it costs us $300 plus shipping and therefore $350, why don't we sell it to you for $350 worth of RFOX, but then also say you get, for example, a free pack of KOGs in the next collection, and you get to walk through the next quarter before anybody else does. You get to go to secret rooms and parties. You get tickets to Post Malone concerts, whatever it might be. That's the important part. That's the really important thing, is to provide value and utility, and you don't need to subsidize heavily because we're in a different industry. And if we think outside of the box, we can actually do this really, really well. It's funny how you call me Pineapple Phantom now. Well, that's what you've written there, mate. Pineapple Phantom, if you went away for a summer holiday and you came back and said you want to be addressed as Susan, I would address you as Susan. Whatever you change your title and name to, that's what I'm going to address you as. Top 5 company types you'd buy if you could go right now. Oh, well, I can only answer from what I see. And actually, Piyush and Fadz, I'd love to hear your opinions on that as well. But the top 5 companies that I would focus on right now would be definitely the design side. So 3D asset creation and animation for videos and stuff. And you're going to see why I say that very shortly. I would also focus on maybe bolstering more development. We've looked at people that could help also build out anything that we're doing. So if they can build out finance products faster, games faster, anything that enhances or speeds up what we're building. But ultimately, for me, the most pressing need right now is gaming, not from what you might be used to from RFOX Games. I mean gaming as in the Vault. So building additional assets, secret rooms, games, instances in the Vault, and also the 3D assets. What about you, Piyush, from a marketing perspective and from that side of the fence? What would you have your eyes on?
Hypothetically speaking, I think everything you've said is absolutely perfect. But, if I were to look at something, I would also look at the media guys, right?
Yes.
I think for me, it's still the hardware side, because a $50 headset that is easily purchased by the majority or the mass market is going to drive up adoption into the metaverse a lot quicker than just having the mobile experience, because a lot of people don't understand the difference between seeing, like what you said, seeing the video, actually putting the headset and using all the interactive tools in the game. It's a really fascinating experience. So for people who are in games, their minds may not be blown because they've been playing in the virtual world all their lives. But for someone who's never touched games or is not a gamer and they've never seen VR before, that first experience is usually very mind blowing. And we've seen it for some of our colleagues in the company as well. The first time they've stepped into the metaverse, their minds got blown because of the potential that it unlocks in terms of content, in terms of interactivity and social cues as well. My bet is most likely into companies going into the $50 or $100 headset range.
Yeah,
it's going to be huge. Yeah.
Actually, we talked to the guys about lower res, lower powered phone connection to headsets and how we would get that working. But the general indication was we're years away from I guess that type of price range with quality. But they're working on some glasses and some other types of things now. But going back to Fadz's previous point, the advantage of getting into the Vault now, while it's still raw and it still needs stuff enabled and things fixed. And I think I talked to you about this the other week, but one of the bugs that we'd found, and I spoiled that by accident without realizing, but we introduced water into Callinova, for example. So you've got rivers or waterways, estuaries, streams, whatever you want to call them. And, one of the things that we noticed on one of the walkthroughs on a previous build was if you went into the water, you had great difficulty getting out of the water. So there was little things like that, or a staircase attached to one of the buildings that was new, and if you walked under the staircase, you couldn't seem to sort of get out from behind the staircase. So little things like that. But to Fadz's point, if you walk around and have a look at the rawness and you have a look at the world as it is, the great part about it is that it's not hard for anybody, no matter how limited your imagination is, to say, oh, wouldn't it be cool if, and you end up getting this bucket wish list. And I don't know if you guys use headsets much or VR headsets much, but my son makes me play this Pavlos with him on the weekends, which is some sort of zombie shooter game. And when we walk around in these worlds, I always say to him, why is that wall like you can't go in there? Why can't you go in that door? Why don't they make that and then I start thinking, hey, in our metaverse, we can make sure that doesn't happen. We can actually do that. And if that gripes us, or we want to be able to go in those rooms, or we want special access, and that's where crypto and blockchain has completely changed the game, right? Because now we can start saying only people that have this can get in there. It only opens up for people that have that. And one of the ideas that we've been throwing around, and I don't want to spoil that because it's still very early, but a lot of people haven't followed gaming mechanics in metaverses where time-based upgrades and rewards time spent in there for upgrades and rewards and privilege hasn't really sort of crept in yet. So there's so much that we can do, and it's bloody exciting. It's a matter of just sort of narrowing your focus, making sure that you're getting that core product out. And as I say, the quicker we can get you guys in, and the quicker we can get you guys APIs and the ability to attach and to build and to help develop, the better off we're going to be. Because as a team, we've got some pretty good ideas, but it's not going to be until we get all of you guys in there and some very smart people in select fields getting in and contributing and adding value to the vault. It's just going to be massive. We'll be able to create an instance on the sidewalk. There you go, in the vault for COG Slam matches, or will there be? I'm happy to tell you.
Benny, you just. Sorry, no, please continue.
No, sorry, go.
I was just going to say that you keep saying I don't want to give any spoilers. I've already counted 4 tonight.
That is why Pete always puts his finger on the mute button, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Nobody
why
told me that I would have sat on that mute button tonight had anyone given me any heads up.
Yeah, but Piyush, you must admit it's a lot more fun when you're allowed to. And the thing is that's one of the things that we used to do is we used to do the nightly calls and we used to give little spoilers and little updates and little sneak peeks at stuff. And personally, I think that was like a very fun time for the company as well. And I really want to get back into that little spoiler stuff. I think it's awesome. So here's number 5, Piyush. Here's number 5 then. I think that there's a couple of ways that you can build, and one of the ways you can build is to have an instance. So you can have an instance where if someone wants to build a game, for example, and let's just say we want to have a car racing game in Callinova, and someone wants to build that game, you can run multiple instances of that game, no problems. If you want to run 10 different car games in Callinova simultaneously through multiple separate instances, you can do that also. But you have to also then decide, is it that people are coming to you and asking you to build that game and deploy that for them? Or is it that they're bringing their game and plugging that in? And they're completely different types of builds, right? So there's still certain things that we haven't revealed yet as to which way we've gone or which way we're going. But there is a big demand for people saying, I'll use Phil. Phil might say, hey, you've got the vault and all the rest of it. I want to have Phil's World. And Phil's World is like an open air man cave island, and you have to go to you get spawned in the RFOX Vault, and you can hop on a shuttle or port or spawn to Phil's man cave island. So I want to run that as my own instance, and I want to run that as my own, I guess, metaverse as a service. So can you build that for me? Can you deploy that for me? Can you maintain it for me? And I'll just go there. And that has advantages because it means that the avatars are interoperable, and you can use assets between those venues and those places. So and does that escape, one football club saying, I want to be exclusive? Well, we'll throw you out on that island over there, that instance, versus we'll throw you out on that other instance. The other thing we've talked about before, and I've said to you guys, is if, and the way my P-brain sees it, if you walk into a shop, you buy a gun and you say, I want to slay some zombies, for example, and then you walk through a back door or a portal and you see an instance of the vault, and you would then only see the other people who also have guns that are also trying to play the same game as you. So you'd see a different instance of the vault than the people that were going there to buy digital sneakers and handbags and all the rest of it. So it's all I can tell you is it's freaking exciting. Nobody really knows. People don't really understand the magnitude of where this is going as an industry. And I think that we're also starting to get a lot more people understand, hang on, you're building in VR from the beginning, you're building game friendly, and you're building with multiple instances in mind, so allowing multiple things to happen at the same time. So this is why we've sort of brought on the internal team now and bolstering the internal team as well. And I did say to you, I don't know, about 4 months ago, I was saying, I don't know, I'm not technical enough to know. I didn't realize the magnitude of the amount of layers that you could build. And we said, screw it, we'll bring on a big team internally. We'll level up and we'll do a lot of this stuff. So we could have just said, screw it, let's just get out to market, make it very flat. Let's just start with something bland and say, ta-da, we did it. There's a flagpole on the moon. Or we can turn around and say, you get a shot at this. We're still way early. We're ahead of the curve. We're building early. So let's go out there with a really, really kick-ass offering. And still, I'd be upset personally if we don't look back on this 2 years from now and we're not hysterically laughing and saying, holy shit, can you believe how bad that was compared to what we've got now? If that's not the case, then we were way too late to market. We have to be going out and having you guys go, wow, this is awesome. This is great. Wouldn't it be cool if? Why don't you do this? And then us go, yep, we're working on it. That's version 2, version 3, it's coming. So it's got to be good enough for you guys to say, wow, but also open enough and early enough for you guys to feel as though you haven't been forced fed a Facebook and have it shoved down your throat and told, no, you have to take 2 steps to the left there. You're taxed if you take that step to the right. It needs to be much more that you guys can come in there and say, I've got tons of shit that would go, or pardon me, I've got tons of wonderful things that would enhance the experience of the Vault. Sorry, sometimes I escape into Aussieisms.
Let me answer some of the questions that we missed regarding staking. Yeah, so announcement for staking window will be done in February, but it's likely to happen. The staking will start in March, so that will cover the special edition like Bad Days, IAPF as well, the ones that's coming out, as well as the game KOGs that you guys have been earning. This will also correlate together with the February, which is our tournament month for the leaderboards in the game. So just hang on. We are just doing up the final polishes for the staking window details. There's a lot happening in Feb related to games and KOGs. There will be certain announcements related to new content as well that will utilize tubes as a way for people to use them in the game, and those are not going to be the same as you see in Slam. And the last thing, if in case I don't get to talk about it today, is related to the IAPF sale that's coming. We just finished a discussion with them today where one lucky winner from that sale will have a chance of a lifetime. So I'll coordinate with Piyush to make sure that we synchronize with the IAPF, and we'll be able to announce it soon.
How many different versions of the Vault are you making? It's not that we're making different versions of so many different versions of the Vault, Hanford. It's that we're making the ability for there to be multiple and unlimited versions of that. So it's what we're opening up. It's the box with the hooks. Will Callinova be launched even if some shops are not yet in operating mode? No, the shops will all open together. Some scientists think the universe operates in the same way. Dimensions mind-blowing. Yeah, that's one of the things that I'd said to you before. I said to my son when he was 5, I said, I'll work out a way to get as close to time travel as we possibly can, because he's also a little bit obsessed with time travel. And I said, by building instances and by building remakes or recreating times, how cool is it going to be able to go into a virtual reality and to be able to beam back to a street, a landscape, a scene from 1932, and actually have information popping up and facts on that. So the education side of things will be massive for these types of metaverses. People don't understand how far this is going to go. Will there be an adult version under the Vault? We'll tell you there is, Hanford, and then when you go under there, we'll lock the little trapdoor, and people coming through for the next few years will go, the Vault's really cool, but it sounds like there's some dude knocking underneath the Vault when we're going through, shrieking and screaming. We have had a lot of people ask for that type of stuff, but yes. Any rough idea on when we might get another look inside the Vault, please? All I can say is it's going to be, we're working on that right now. right now. Safari hunting poachers. Oh my gosh, Baltic Badger, we have literally had exactly that conversation. So we are talking to people that want to do that. People, it's really weird because we just talked about poaching and stuff like that. We actually have a group of people that want to actually do that want to stop that happening by building games that allow people to go onto virtual safaris. And I'm thinking to myself, that's a really, I don't know about, that's a really interesting concept. Love to see the missus's face if I come with 2 elephants. Yeah, it actually, Piyush, do you get elephants anywhere near you?
Actually, a very interesting story. No, elephants are wild animals, right? You obviously see them in cities sometimes when they're in temples or something, but usually elephants are not found walking around the streets of Bombay. To be honest. But I'll tell you something very interesting. A couple of years ago, my partner and I, we went to this hill station, and there was a wild elephant family that will come to the stream nearby to drink water in the morning, right? And while on one of our nature walks or, just exploring the jungle, the tour guide categorically told us that in case you see an elephant, even a couple of kilometers away, and you see that he spots you, run for your life, because there's a very fair chance he'll think that you're trying to attack his kids, and he will murder you in less than a second. And those buggers, as big as they are, they really can run fast. Like, they're really fast, right? So we are very merrily taking a walk, and all of a sudden this guy says, run, 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 elephant has seen us. And we ran literally like our ass was on fire till the time we reached the hotel, without even bothering to figure out if the other person is right next to us or has been left behind. So very funny, but elephants are pretty big in India. We have a lot of them in national parks, a lot of them domesticated at temples. They are very gentle creatures, but they're not very commonly found in cities, no. Probably in some villages, mostly in the jungles.
Although I lived in Nanderi for a little while, and I saw a painted elephant walking down the street one time. It was crazy.
Those are the ones that are specifically allocated to certain temples, because elephants are also worshipped in India, right? One of our major gods in India is half elephant. So usually all animals are worshipped in India, but elephants are supposed to be one of the more sacred ones for us.
Yes, actually, when I said near you, Piyush, I didn't mean as in on the next street. I've spent a bit of time in Sri Lanka, and I know some of our community has as well. And in Sri Lanka, they've got lots and lots of easily accessible parks, or I don't know what you want to call them. They're not like safari grounds, but they're parks, and you can actually go out there in like your jeeps, and you can get right amongst it. And when you go to Temple of the Tooth, and that's when you've got what you're talking about. Piyush, when you've
in
got
Sri Lanka, you can actually bathe them, right? I think there's one of those parks wherein you're allowed to bathe them. So I guess those elephants have also been raised in a certain manner. So in India, for example, the ones who are in the temple, you would be allowed to touch them. You would be allowed to take rides on them, perhaps also sometimes, kids specifically. But the ones who are largely in the wild are the ones that you got to be scared of.
Yes, for sure. Actually, the ones in Sri Lanka, my son had forgotten his hat, and it was quite hot, so he took his shorts off and just kept his boxers on, and he put his shorts on his head. And when the elephants came up towards the jeep, we were standing in the back of it, and the people to wind him up had said, "Oh, the elephants will come for the pants on your head." So we were filming it, and he thought that they were being deadly serious. He thought that these elephants were going to come up and try and take his pants off his head. But they come right up to the car. They don't actually try and nudge it or push it over or anything. I think they've been so domesticated that they're looking for you to feed them more. I don't know, give them some sort of a reward. But it's still an amazing experience to be able to get that close to animals that are that massive.
absolutely magnificent creatures, right? And around the world, by the way, they are hunted for their tusk, right? For the ivory. It's very sad and very scary. And I guess this is where also, just to plug it in, organizations such as IAPF and people who are doing good work to preserve and save these gorgeous creatures around the world are extremely important because they're actually doing honest to God work.
100%. 100%. All right, so we've that's a pretty action-packed hour, but yeah, I think that once we start to give you a little bit of a look at what's on the horizon and all the rest of it, you're going to get to see two things. One, the opportunities, as Fadz said, when you see the raw potential, and the second thing is you'll also see that we've headed in a definitive direction because. As stated, I love it. I love the fact that you can bring people in and you can bring people to work on what you're working on, and they look at what you've done and you go, have a look at this. Look at what we've built. It's awesome. And they go, it's all right. It can be way better. So that's the best thing you could ever possibly hear from people coming in, and you go, make it better. Make it amazing. Make it the #1 metaverse in the whole space. And I think that obviously that we'll have some very stiff competition over the coming years, but I think in the interim, I think we've got a very good shot of being very, very competitive and right up there. So extremely excited by that. And yes, we can bring back the wheel, Baltic Badger. I can do it for questions and sneak peeks and stuff like that. Very looking forward to doing that. I probably, just as a heads up, I'm probably not going to do Monday to Friday like we used to do, but I might do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But I'll announce how that will work in the next week or so. Yeah, wheel. Got to have the wheel. It's so archaic, but great. Fantastic. Thank you very much, guys. Have an awesome night. And remember, guys, don't focus too much on temporary price movements and fluctuations across the board, whether you're in stock markets, whether you're in crypto, whatever. Just get, like, I know a lot of you guys have become friends and are close in the community as well. Just remember what we're here for. Plug into the communities, talk to people that are like-minded, and we're all on the right track, guys. It's just a matter of waiting. It doesn't always go up. If you zoom out, it's on a line upwards, but it just takes time. This stuff's not easy to build. It's not quick to build, and we're super, super early. We're at Commodore 64 stage of this revolution. Have a fantastic night, guys, and we will speak to you very, very shortly.
Bye, guys. Have a good weekend.